insightful. And we are moving into the next session, which is our second speaker, Mr. Radwan. And this is only like a little disclaimer that our participants for today are actually a selected youth from 13 provinces across Indonesia with a different background and with also a different specific issue discussions which they are concerned about. And for the next sessions would be our second speaker, Mr. Radwan, and perhaps I would like to give a little brief of introduction. Mr. Radwan, currently a jurist, a lawyer, writer, international mediator, and also member of the International Center for Dispute Resolution, which is registered in London, and the Tripoli Bar Association in Lebanon. He has a lot of work experiences in youth organizations, Arab women organizations, and several other organizations, which mainly focus on advocacy and law. And today, Mr. Radwan is already joined us in this Zoom meeting. How are you, Mr. Radwan?
Hello, Wanda. How are you? How is everyone? Thank you for having me.
Hi. Yes. We are so glad that you can finally join us for today. So I'm sure that the participants already eager to hear what Mr. Radwan has to say. So without any further ado, Mr. Radwan, the time and screen are yours.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So first of all, it's an honor to be here with you. Pardon me for not talking your national language. Let's try to have a collaborative solution, which is English. Okay. Anyway, so all of us live in countries where there are laws, rules, governing bodies telling us what we can and can do. Our power, the wisdom in creating humanity is that our power is in our masses. We work in numbers. So one person definitely can't do anything alone. He can one person can definitely start a mission. He can start an idea. We are special. We are different than other creatures that we can use words. We have a voice to speak out. So I won't say we can create stuff, but we can put things together to create an idea. Anyways, as I was telling you, all of us live in countries where there are laws, rules, and governing bodies telling us what we can and can do. And what about youth? We were born to this world forced to apply certain procedures and laws and rules. Where do we identify ourselves? What is the criteria? What is the right criteria to choose? Anyways, I know it's a mixture of experience and knowledge throughout years. This is why we need our elders. Our elders are a very important character in our field. So as Ms. Wanda was introducing me, I'm a lawyer. I'm also the president of the Lebanese Assembly for Inclusive Development. I'm engaged in several advocacy associations, specifically youth. We always target what's like us. Before you choose any organization, you have to check whether it's a pro-life or pro-choice. It doesn't matter what you choose. It's your. We live in a free world. You can. This is your choice where you find yourself. What you see is closer and more common to your customs and laws and what identifies you. But when you belong to a specific association, remember that it becomes part of your identity, especially when it holds an idea. So I'm also a member of the World Youth Alliance. I don't know if we have any members with us here today, because I know that it's very effective in Asia and the Asian countries. And well, actually, the new president is Asian. Anyways, by the way, the World Youth Alliance is a pro-life organization. We're against abortion, where we make the family sacred. The family is very important, etc. Most importantly, we make sacred what is called human dignity. We agree that human dignity is the foundation where human rights come after, not vice versa. This was my personal mistake. I always thought that human rights granted human dignity, which was wrong. We have this human dignity even before we are born. The resolution here in front of me, following several years of advocacy by over 11,000 young people from over 110 countries, the United Nations Security Council adopted a historic resolution, the UN Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security, recognizing young people's positive role in international peace and security. When we go back to what's called youth, how did this advocacy campaign start? From the beginning. I was telling you I was the president of the Lebanese Assembly for Inclusive Development. Let me tell you a bit about how I started my ideas, how I became president, how did this all start? It's all started with one idea. It's the conflict between generations, which was highly accepted by youth from my region and which everyone agreed on. This is how we continued. Anyway, it all started with the Lebanese Youth Parliament, who's with us here today and who doesn't know, I'm from Lebanon, the Middle East. Always remember, always start from your society. I did many mistakes in my life. The lesson I'd like to deliver to you is never look outside your borders and start from the outside. Always start from your community. God have put you in this specific spot. You have to use the resources allocated around you. Your sect, your age, your nationality, the region where you are. This is part of you. Don't be ashamed of it. We are all equal. Start from there. So we started with the Lebanese Youth Parliament, and as you know, in a democratic country, Lebanon is one of the, I won't say the only democratic country in the region, but it is. Anyways, so when you have democracy, you have a lot of different opinions. As I always say, a just dictatorship is better than a corrupted democracy. So we're so sorry today we face a lot of corruption. I won't say it's because of democracy, it's because of corrupted democracy. The wrong people in the wrong place. Anyways, as you know, there's a lot of different ideas. I was the founder of the Together We Build Alliance, which was the most neutral parties. This is why we started from the UNESCO, the International Center for Human Sciences. Thank you to the director, Dr. Darina, who welcomed us at that day, because she saw how neutral we were. We accepted all individuals in society. We were with equality. We gave we gave a 50-50 gender equality. Our list was from like we have the zebra method. If you heard about the zebra method, I personally was working with the National Commission for Lebanese Women, and one of the parties, I won't name the party, one of the parties have developed this strategy in which I liked and I adopted. In this strategy, you create some sort of solidarity along with equality throughout the parliament. Anyways, we succeeded in having 10 seats out of 46 seats, which was an amazing success, knowing that we were the only not corrupted alliance. We didn't pay a single cent. Anyways, we decided that we want to continue and we want to accept the other part of alliances. So we stepped out of politics temporarily to civil society, and we joined the other alliances with us, the ones that weren't radical. to create the Lebanese Assembly for Inclusive Development. As I told you, I'm the president. I'm also the representative advisor of Lebanon at Mediaite Guru's Global Advisory Board to reflect some images from these experiences. As you told me, this was the topic. Anyways, as I told you from the beginning, always you have to start with your own background, like I did. This gives you power. It raises your voice. And we should not forget education. I faced a lot of difficulties when we were making the campaign for the youth parliament with illiterate people and uneducated people. Some people are affected with emotions, pure emotions, no scientific reasoning, no logic. So you have to teach them, you have to show them. And most importantly, the idea, the case should be above all. When you work for the group, you level up. When you work for yourself, you may go one level up, but this is it. Your career is ended. So always remember that you have to work for the idea you believe in, for the group. And today, as youth, we have what it takes from energy, from education, we had this conversation in which he said that us as elders, we have the experience that you youth did not witness. We have the experience of the civil war. We have the experience of 1, 2, 3. I told him, with all my respect, Your Excellency, but if you have 60 years of experience, 70 years of experience, 100 years of experience, our educational system gave us thousands of years of experience from our elders in history. So why don't use us in policy making? Why don't use us in it could be the World Youth Alliance, it could be through the United Nations. Always use a credible platform. Always use these platforms to raise your voice. It starts with one word. Today you're an attendee. Tomorrow you're a policy maker. Anyways, he was really touched in what I said, and I convinced him, and I convinced everyone sitting in the room but he was right. Not all youth has the capacity. It's something that is happening right now, which is really wrong. It's the public opinion makes the person. Sometimes the public opinion isn't as valuable or as credible or as good in our own scale. In our era, the numbers aren't as effective as I was telling you about. They used to be effective. Today, one efficient person is better than 100. One smart person is better than 1 billion. One educated person, unsuccessful. So the numbers work. Numbers are really important, but we also need effective individuals like you, choosing to attend this course today, choosing to attend this webinar today with having nothing to take in return is one of the criteria that makes you, when we look today at CVs, when we look today about, like, for example, we want to employ someone, we want to recruit someone, attending these webinars is one of the criteria we look at. Why did he spend this valuable time here? On September 8th, 2022, the United Nations Resolution ARES 76306 officially created the UN Youth Office as an organization with 1 million members. I think my affiliated organizations are part of these 1 million members. We have been following the creation of the office attentively. We have identified a number of concerns which are unable to properly represent the perspective of youth around the world. This was evidenced by the Youth Declaration, which this office launched at the Transforming Education Summit in mid-September, if you remember, claiming to capture the thoughts of 450,000 youth around the world. The declaration was a compilation of comments from many sources and groups, but did not involve a representative negotiating process. Anyways, this document called for a comprehensive sexuality education, as I was explaining to you at the beginning, that there's the pro-life and pro-choice, and what each organization talk about and stuff. So they were talking about the comprehensive sexuality education, decolonizing and dismantling sources of knowledge, as well as striving for a future that is feminist. It seems like a similar process is being used to establish the youth office. Anyways, the Secretary General asked the Envoy on Youth to lead a consultation process on how to structure this office and how youth could engage meaningfully across the UN system. So far, 2 online meetings have been held with young people representing different organizations. One was on July 14th and another on October 6th. Yeah, both meetings failed to yield constructive inputs, with speakers either using the platform to promote their individual organizations or emphasizing the need for the office to be diverse and inclusive with a very specific ideological bent. So it was focusing on the pro-choice ideology. This is how the world is being drawn for the next generations. What about us? There's a lot of different youth opinions throughout the world. One of them is the World Youth Alliance, which I'm, as I told you, a member of, gave an oral inputs at the initial virtues consultation with 3 points. Our main 3 points were the office should focus on issues that young people are worried about the most. The second point is that it should truly represent the diversity of views around the world. This means including youth with different world views, philosophical perspective, ideological, religious traditions. It should be a venue to propose innovative solutions to the world's problems, and these solutions must always start with uplifting the dignity person. We are forgetting that the main idea that we should all be advocating for is human dignity. Okay, so we young people of all nations, in solidarity with one another, believe that every human person has intrinsic and inalienable dignity that begins at conception and extends to natural death. This human dignity, the most precious endowment of the human person, is inviolable. The human dignity of every human person should be cherished in custom and protected by law. We pledge ourselves to protect the human dignity of every human person. Okay. So why I also highlighted the opportunity it opens to use UN platforms like this one for creative human-centered solutions, as well as achieving constructive outcomes rather than abusing fora focused on real problems, hunger, poverty, education, etc., for the same ideological battles. Some youth can't speak for themselves concerning these issues. We should be their voices when we can. And if we can't help them financially, we should lobby for their rights, because their rights are ours. We are one. The World Youth Alliance expresses its concern that in failing to be open and unbiased in its founding process, the UN Youth Office will represent very limited perspectives, in failing to actively engage groups like WIA, for example, or other similar pro-life organizations, which has such a large global constituency. The office will not be able to say that it speaks for the youth of the world, and will quickly lose its credibility. So, as I told you, today you're an attendee, tomorrow you're a policymaker. Let me give you this last statement. We always give these examples, like today you're here and tomorrow you'll be there. One of the conferences, I told them that, why do you always tell us tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow? Why not today? This is our time to be the youth. Why not today make these decisions? We can't wait till tomorrow. So sorry for telling you tomorrow you're policymakers. Today you're policymakers, and you should work with it. Find the organization that suits you and volunteer. This is the time to give. Tomorrow we will harvest, not start working. Thank you.
Thank you for such encouraging words for all the participants.
Touchstone that would never be fully accepted because they are historically and culturally specific. How would we do it?
Amazing question. Amazing question. Well, actually, I'll give you my country as an example. We have a lot of differences. In Arabic, we have a sentence that is said "Al-fitna na'ima la'ana Allahu man ayqadhaha," which means the differences exist. They actually exist, and God curses who awakens them. It's sleeping, and God curses who awakens it. Anyways, I've never found any person that's totally okay. They're all damaged, especially the elders. It's difficult to influence new morals, as you were saying, new morals and new ideas. And sometimes they're youth, but from a different background. It's also different to impose on them what's right and how we should be all solidarity and human dignity and stuff. I know sometimes it's difficult, but let's put aside your own strategies. Let's see, we have a sick body, a sick baby, okay? No one likes to take the needle, the vaccination, or anything. I personally hate any kind of medication. It hurts. Okay, anyways, but sometimes you have to do it. So we can't guarantee results right now. It's only the enlightened youth that can get a better future for the future generations. It could be difficult to impose these morals right now on these specific people, but it's easier to impose them on their children and their grandchildren. Here in Lebanon, the ones that are ruling right now are the Lord wards. To make it more simple, they are the ones that won the civil war. They are all bad people. They kill, they lie, they manipulate, they corrupted, but they gave their children the best education. Their children, sorry, they're always fighting with previous generations. There's always differences. You may not guarantee the results right now, but be sure that you're doing the right thing when you start doing something, even if there was no solution. Today, and university degrees, some people take degrees in negotiation, mediation, conflict resolution, strategies to make it faster and easier, to break the ice. But no one is telling you we need to see a solution right now. We want to see your work. I'm a lawyer. We have something that's called mujib al-amal and mujib al-natija, which means the obligation of work and the obligation of result. You have no obligation of result. You have the obligation of work. And when you do the right work, I will guarantee you that you'll see amazing results. Sometimes not what you expected, but you'll do something. As Rumi once said, Rumi is one of the he's not Arabic, he's one of the Islamic philosophers that we highly appreciate. He said something, they asked him, why do you worship God a lot? And why do you do all of this and stuff? And you won't reach him. It's look what are you and look what he is. You won't go up. Similar to the difficulty you're talking about. It's sometimes difficult to impose these morals and stuff on certain types of people. This is something almost impossible, and this is something almost impossible. He said, although I may not go where I aimed for, but I'll definitely go above all of you. You know what I mean? I worked for the youth parliament. I worked on the whole 64 seats. We wanted to get all of the 64 seats. We only got 10. This was one of the greatest success in the Lebanese youth history. But I didn't get the 64. I got 10, which is amazing. But always aim to reach up. Always aim to convince them, to influence them if you think you're right. Okay, if you think you're right. You'll not always guarantee the result, but I'll guarantee you, you'll jump from one phase to another, which will be definitely more better. You'll be a better person in society, in connections. Even if you're a believer, even towards God, you did something. I hope I answered the question.
Perfect answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's a very great discussion. Is